Thanks, Jersey. How's it going, everybody? Hope everybody's doing great, staying warm. I don't know about where you're at, but where I'm at in Utah is cold. But yeah, so as you can hopefully deduce by that awesome thumbnail, that we're going to be doing some Beatles tonight. So I thought we'd do Come Together, and we're going to go through like the different rhythm parts and stuff. We're also going to do the guitar solo and the outro solo for it. They're really easy, so even if you've never done anything like that before, it really shouldn't be hard to pick it up. It's like I said, they're pretty easy. So as usual, there is a link in the description where you can download the tabs. And apologize in advance, it's 12 pages because of the format that they make me do this in. That if I could do full sheets, just like full PDF, it would have been less. But the outro solo kind of goes on and on, even though there isn't a whole lot going on. There's a lot of notes that just ring out, a lot of rests and things like that. So it just kind of extends it out. So yeah, so download those tabs and we can get looking at this. So who have I got out here tonight? Have I got any of my regulars besides Jersey? And if this is your first time being here, let me know where you are tuning in from. All right. All right, so we're going to start off here with the, this is kind of the, Crit, welcome. This is kind of like the main riff, I guess you could say. The thing that's weird about this is that without the bass being played with it, it doesn't really sound that full. I mean, like it feels like there's something missing. It's because of the because we're lacking a bass line. So that's the riff. It's pretty easy. Just gonna take your first finger. We're just gonna bar at the 5th fret on the A string and the D string. Well, technically on the A string and the D string and the G string. Want to get all three of those because it just makes this easier what we're going to do. So we start off and we play just that A string at the 5th fret twice. So that's like the downbeat of 1 and the and of 1. So like 1 and then on the downbeat of 2, we're going to pick that 5th fret on the D string. And again, that's because we're barring, right? So we're going to hit that and then do a hammer onto the 7th fret with your 3rd finger. So it'd be. Now that is 16th notes. So you play that quicker than that first part. So it's like 1 and 2 E. And then on the and of 2, with keeping your 3rd finger here on the 7th fret of the D string, and where you're barring, you're getting that 5th fret of the G string. So we've got this little A minor dyad. So that's the whole riff. And then that's on the and of 2, and then it's tied to a half note, so it also takes care of beats 3 and 4. So you got it. So it does that 4 times at the beginning, and then that's where it goes into the next part, which is the verse. So. Oh, something else too I forgot to say. When you do the 2 notes on the A string, you want to palm mute that. So without the bass line being there, and the drums even are like a big part of that riff because they recorded them and then they're backwards, so it gives them that weird sound. All right, so that is the intro. And for anyone that's just joined us, there is a link in the description where you can download the tabs for this. All right, so moving on into the verse. This part's really easy, and you've probably already played something very similar to this before. So it's just your basic shuffle, like that, but we're doing it here. So we're on the 5th fret of the A string, and how I like to do it is I'll show you how I do it, and then how I've seen other people do it. I put my first finger here on the 5th fret of the A string, and then my second finger on the 7th fret of the D string. So that's our D5 chord. And then we're going to go to a B minor over D. So basically all we're going to do is we're going to move the note on the D string from the 7th fret to the 9th fret. So if you use your first and your second finger like this, all you have to do is move your pinky up and down. So you have one, it's all 8th notes. So on the downbeat of 1, well, all of beat 1 rather, 1 and this is all palm muted. So we're on the D5, 1 and then we're going to put our pinky onto the 9th fret for 2 and then take it back off for 3 and back on for 4 and. So it's just like I said, your basic shuffle. Like that. Now, I've seen other people where they'll do it this way. They'll use their first, third, and then their pinky. Like that. Whichever way is more comfortable for you. I don't think that there's one way that's any more beneficial than the other than one way is probably going to be easier for you than the other way. I can do it this way, but it's much more comfortable for me to do it between these fingers. Getting the stretch between my 3rd and 4th finger, I guess, is where I have the struggle with it. Hello, Victor. Welcome. All right, so one measure of that is just going to be the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So we have 4 measures of that. And this is the verse. Okay, now on the next measure, we're going to go down a 4th. So we're just going to take this exact shape and we're just going to move it down a set of strings. So now your first finger will be on the 5th fret of the low E string, and then your second or third finger, whichever way you're doing it, will be on the 7th fret of the A string, and then your pinky will be picking up the 9th fret. And we do that same thing. Let me see here. Yeah, so we have 2 measures when it goes to this 4 chord. So you have this A5. And then on the last measure, so it's measure 11 on the transcription, you're going to do a G5. So you're going to move that shape down a whole step. So now you're picking up the 3rd fret of the low E and the 5th fret of the A string. And we hit that as an 8th note on the downbeat of 1. So it's 1, and then we rest for the rest of that measure plus 1 more. So that's the whole verse. So that's the when it comes to hold you in his armchair, whatever the weird, whatever verse you're on, whatever weird lyrics, insert your own weird lyrics there. Uh, and then that leads us into the chorus. So, like I said, this is like a pretty simple thing that I'm sure you've probably played in something else. It's in like a million different songs. Basic shuffle. You can't reach the 5/9. Okay, you can. Uh, the reason you're having problem is probably because of the posture of your hand. So this actually brings up a really good point. This is an issue that I see, just with guitar students all the time. If you're holding the guitar, like if you're trying to do it like this and you've got the palm of your hand against the back, people try to hold it like it's a bat, and then they're trying to do this and then they can't reach. Get your thumb around on the back so you can get your wrist curved out like this. So the further you release it this way, it gives your tendons more, they have more room to be able to stretch. I've got hands like an 8-year-old girl, so if I can make this stretch, you can too. You just probably don't think you can because, like I said, because of that whole posture thing. So you're doing it like this and stretching between your pinky and your third finger. Yeah, that's totally fine. Like I said, that is just, I don't know, stretching between these two fingers has always just been really weird for me. And uh, I've kind of attributed it to just because I do have smaller hands. Because I've noticed that the guys that like, even like when I play a 3 note per string scale, if it's two whole steps, I'll do it with my first, second, and then fourth finger. And I see a lot of people do it like this. Guys like Paul Gilbert or Steve Vai that have long fingers, they'll do it that way. So I'm assuming it must be a thing that it's more comfortable for them. Yeah, that's great, Crit, because that's really what I'm talking about with that. So yeah, for me personally, it's just easier to do it this way. Yeah, even like I play riffs like the police, like message in a bottle. That's just the way I do it, or any kind of I do that 9 shape. I do it between those fingers, but I see people do it that way too. So either way is fine. It doesn't really matter. Just whichever way is more comfortable for you. How's that working out for you, Jersey? Are you able to get? You always want to make sure you're bent. You're not. You can think of it as like you're out here and you're pointing back at the guitar, but I mean you literally don't want to move out that far. But you want to be more out this way than back like this, because when your arm is, you got your wrist straighter like this, you're not going to get as much reach. Oh, you are welcome, Victor. All right, so that takes care of the intro and the verse, and the next part we'd be looking at is the chorus. So before we move along, does anybody have any questions? Jersey, when you try just doing it this way. Take these two fingers out of the equation. Pick up the 5th fret on the A string and the 9th fret on the D string. Can you do that? All right. So onto the chorus. This is probably the easiest part of the song. So it's got the. All right, so what we've got is just some power chords. We've got a B5. So I'm picking up the 2nd fret of the A string, with my first finger and then using my third finger just to bar the fourth fret of the D and the G string. Okay, so you're saying, Jersey, that you cannot make that stretch. You can't reach from 5 to 9 between your first and your pinky with your wrist bent out like this. Hello, Rick. Welcome. All right, yeah. So it's this B5, just your basic bar chord, like bar chord, major chord, but we're just getting 1 and 5 and 8. So, like I've said in the past, if you're a beginner and you're having problems getting this note, the highest note there, in this case, the fourth fret of the G string, then don't worry about you don't have to get that note. If you just get the A and the D string, it's totally fine because the note on the A string and the G string are the same note. So we just have, or you can do it like this too, with your first, third, and then your pinky this way too, if that's easier for you. So we have 1 and 2 and 3 and then on the downbeat of 4, we're going to go to A5. So now the A string is open and second fret of the D and the G string. And that's going to be 4 and. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then to G5, third fret of the low E string, fifth fret of the A string, 1 and 2 and then move it up a whole step to A5 for 3. So that's the come together over me. And that's the chorus. Like I said, that's probably by far the easiest part of the song. Okay, so if okay, don't fret, Jersey. Here's an alternative way you can do it. It's going to be the same notes. It's just going to sound a little bit different because it's different strings, so it's going to be a different tonality. So D string open, second fret of the G string with your first finger. And so what I'm doing, everybody, is I'm showing an alternative way that you could do that verse. If you really have, like Jersey, he's got arthritis, so he's really having issue making that stretch. So you can do the same thing by doing that. So D string open, second fret of the of the G string, and then the fourth fret of the G string, and that'll be where you will go back and forth from. So you could do that with your first and your third finger or your pinky. And then when it moves down a fourth, you just do the same thing. So now the A string will be open, second fret of the D string. And then down to the G. So, like I said, this sounds, it's the same notes, it just sounds a little bit different, different string and all that. So anyhow, hopefully that'll make it easier for you. Give that a try, like right now, and let me know how that's working. So yeah, so that's the chorus. Like I said, that part of it's pretty easy. So like if you're familiar with the song, it does the intro, does the verse, and then after the chorus, it does the intro again, and now they're calling it the interlude, and then there's another verse, and then another chorus, and then it goes to like the solo section. All right, cool. See, for most things, there's usually some way you can get around. I mean, not 100% of the time, but most of the time, there's usually a way that you can alter something to make it, to compensate for whatever, reason that you're having issue. All right. And for those of you, wrong way, that have just joined us, there is a link in the description where you can download the tabs for this. And if you like what I'm doing, you like the content and stuff, show me some love, hit that thumbs up button, leave me a comment. All that stuff really helps with me being able to continue to do this. All right, so now we're going to look at the guitar solo. So for this, I did it. This is part of the reason why it's so like this transcription is so long, is because I put in, we're going to do the solo, but I've also got with the rhythm guitars during this part as well. So on that, it's just going to be it's just this in with an A. So Jersey again, instead of doing it here, you do it like this. So the open A string, second fret on the D string to the fourth. So while that's going on, we've got the solo. So, like I said, it's pretty easy for the most part. So we're starting off here. We're up clear up on the 15th fret on the B string, and you want to use your third finger because we're going to be bending this. So if you use your third finger on the 15th fret, and then put your second finger on the 14th, and then your first finger on the 13th, now you have all three fingers for the leverage to be able to do the bend. If you have not done bending before, the actual part of just doing the bend isn't difficult, but doing it so you're not causing problems on other strings is a different thing. So I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time on this, but I do want to kind of just, for those that could maybe use just a little bit of advice at this point. So like if I'm just playing these notes, I'm just coming down on the tips of my fingers like this. But when I go to do the bend, I don't want to keep in this and try to bend like that, because that's going to happen. Hear that other open string? So when I go to bend, as I start pushing up, I actually start rolling my finger back. So I'm kind of catching the edge of the string. So let's pretend like this is a string. So if I'm playing on the, I gotta get that out of my way. So if I'm just playing notes and I'm on top of the string like this, but when I go to bend, I'm going to start pushing, and as I do it, I'm going to come around on the edge of the string. So instead of like trying to like grabbing the top of it and pulling on it, I'm getting around underneath of the string and pushing it. Or I'm not really underneath, on the side, I should say. So instead of being on top, I'm like this way, so that way I can push the string. And then as I come back, I just let my fingers come back into the original position. This was probably the worst demonstration on how to do that I could have possibly come up with. Try to do it on the guitar. It's just that on here, I'm afraid you just can't really see all that well. Here, let me scrunch up here. So terrifying, I know, right? So as I bend, see, I'm coming around. So the string is actually, see how my finger is on the edge of it? I'm not clear on the top of it like this, trying to pull it up. I'm getting on the side and pushing it. So a couple of reasons why you want to do it that way. One, it's 1,000 times easier to have the leverage. If you're trying to drag the string up, it's a lot harder than if you're underneath of it, just pushing it up. And then you're going to feel that resistance pushing back at you. So that's how you can learn to gauge how much you need, how much pressure you need to do the bend. And unfortunately, it feels different all over the neck. It's not like you learn, oh, okay, I can bend here now, I'm going to be able to do it anywhere. I mean, yeah, you probably can, but it's not going to feel the same way everywhere. The further you are in the lower frets, the string has more tension on it, so it's a lot harder to bend. When you get up here, it gets less, so you can't push as hard up here as you need to down here. So this is probably a good place to kind of start with this. Also for vibrato, if you're trying to do it by pulling up, like, it's hard to get vibrato, but now I'm underneath of it, so I can actually wiggle the string, like, push it up and down, perpendicular to the frets. And then the other thing is like what I showed you in the beginning, is when I push up, you don't want to catch these higher strings. So as I come around this way, I'm bending the second string, but look where the G string is. It's just sitting right there on my fingers. And as I come back down, I basically just release it. I'm not catching it and plucking it. That's one of the things that you're going to have happen a lot when you first try to do it. So yeah, that like I said, that was kind of hope that helped at all. Okay, yeah. So we're gonna do this, and it says on there that it's we know it's a bend because on the 15 it has the line going up, and it says full. So that means it's a full step. So we're gonna bend that note to that note. So we're bending. It's a D, and we're gonna bend it up to an E to that note. The little squiggly line up above there means that there's vibrato on it. So again, when I want that vibrato. All right, so this starts on right on the downbeat, and it's a half note, so it's getting the first two beats. And then on the downbeat of 2, there's actually a just a real quick rest there, and then we're going to bend it again, and then again and release, and to pull off to the 13th fret where your first finger already is. So that's the first measure. Then starting on the second measure, we hit that 15 and bend it again, and this time it's a whole note. So that's basically like that phrase. Then we're going to do that again. And I have to flip the page to see what comes next. This is really irritating. Let's see. Wait a minute, there's 15, 16, 17. Well, this is a drag. I'm not sure. I think I missed it somehow or another when I was transferring it over into this format. I somehow or another missed part of that solo. In between there, I feel like there's something that's missing. So I apologize if there is. Like I said, converting these over like this is just always a pain in the butt. This one was so long, I somehow or another missed. I think I missed a staff. But anyway, it does that. What we did twice. So that was where the next page shows it goes there, but I think there's something else. Something like that, I think, but that's like close enough that we can kind of get the you can get the gist of it. So starting at the beginning of that part. So we just moved down here. So now we're on the 12th fret of the G string and the 10th fret of the G string. So you can bend with 3 fingers. And then it goes back to the 13th fret there. Is there 2 chords in the solo? Yeah, you just have that. And then I have to look on the next page because I can't remember. And for some reason, I don't know why these are numbered, come together 1, 2, 3, 4, but my computer doesn't want to show them to me in order. It's skipping around. Yeah. So on that, it's that's like your 2 chords. You have A5, and then the F sharp minor over A. And then it goes back into from the beginning of it. The only way I got to play last week's lesson was to take it to my guitar class. Okay. Not sure what you mean. I know you took it to I figured out that taking it to the guitar class thing, but yeah. So that's those are like all the kind of the main, the main components of the song. But what I also wanted to do was go over the outro. Oh man, this is so stupid how ordered this is. But before we do that, does anybody have any questions on any of it up to that point? Or just, any guitar questions in general? All right, so this outro part, what's really kind of cool about it is that you've got the guitar doing the little outro solo, which is just, it's very similar to the main solo, just a lot of, pentatonic bending and stuff. But it's what the rhythm guitar is doing during this part that's really interesting. It's like some combinations of everything that's happened, but it's just not the same thing over and over and over again. It has all these little subtle differences, and that's why I included it. So it makes this section like the longest part of the whole thing. It's the pages 5 through 12 is just this section. So let's look at guitar 1 first, the rhythm guitar part. So we start off with that same little, like riff from the beginning, and then we have that same little shuffle thing. So one, in this case, that's really weird. There's a bar. The bar line is actually missing. That should be a bar line between that and this, and it isn't there. That's bizarre. So we have that same little shuffle. So it's going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and then we're going to take on the D string on the 5th fret. We're going to pick that and do a hammer onto the 7th fret, and then follow that with the 5th fret of the G string, 6th fret of the B string. So, whoops. It's kind of awkward to grab because it's like you're outlining a D minor. goes back into the same thing, and then the does it again. So that's like that. This section is 3 measures long. So the first measure, really awkward to grab that. Okay, and then the lead guitar part is just doing some of that same stuff. So we're going to start off, we're going to bend this time on the 13th fret of the B string, and we're going to bend it up, and it's tied to the next measure as well. And then we rest on the second time of the whoops. So we're bending the 13. We're doing similar to what we did before. A bend, then a bend and release and a pull off, but this time we're pulling off to the 10th fret. And I think it goes back to the 13, but I got to flip the page. This is like so inconvenient the way it does this. Oops. Yeah, I was right. So then we're going to go to the G string, 10th fret with your first finger. And so this is coming in from another rest. So we rest on beats 1 and 2, and then the first or the downbeat of 3. So 1, 2, 3, and then and on the and of 3, we start here on the 10th fret of the G string with your first finger to the 12th fret, and we're going to do a half step bend and do a bend and release. So what I mean by a bend and release is when I bend the note and then I let it come back down to where we started here, on the 12th fret, and that's counted into the timing. And then we're going to pull off to 10. Back to the 13th fret of the B string again. So this is just all right out of the first pattern, pentatonic pattern. All right. So on these particular ones we were doing before, we had that. Now we've got. So it's more like part of the intro. It's got that A minor dyad instead of here. We're just here, but again, it's all right out of the of this D minor, like bar chord. All of those notes are in there. Same thing, and it's the same for the first 2 measures. Then on the third one, it's a little bit different. We've got this on the last beat, on beat 4, 16th notes. Starting on the D string, we're going to go 5 and do a hammer on to the 7th fret, to the 7th fret of the G string, back to the 5th fret of the D string, hammer to 7 again. So all these things they're not, the main focus on that part of the song, is like the little solo, little melody that's being playing, and then they're come together, still singing over it, and then this is going on there in the background, and it's almost, it just kind of, you don't even really notice, it just kind of blows by you, but it's really neat, some of the stuff that's happening in there. let's see this. Going on to the next measure. Again, we're still, this is kind of the meat and potatoes of this part, but we've just got these different little lick things. So this one, again, we've got something different. 1 and 2 and 3 and then we're going to go the 7th fret on the D string, and we're going to slide to the 9th fret, but we're going to do that same little, this time it's a B minor dyad. So what makes this kind of awkward, when we do that slide, I guess you could use your middle finger, or if you're doing it this way. So if you're playing it like Crit's playing it like this, this is the best finger to do that slide with, because then it leaves your first finger free here to drop onto the 3rd fret of the G string. But when I do it, I have to switch fingers like that. So we hit the little B minor dyad, then we hit it again, and then slide the note on the D string back to the 7th fret. So it's all in one. Yes, and then switch them fast for sure. So all 3 measures on this part just do that same rhythm thing. Let's see. Oh, that one came in order. All right, so on this next one, the rhythm starts off, the first measures that is the same. We got that slide back to this again. Now we got like that first one we did. So 1 and 2 and 3 and. So the D string, 5th, hammer to 7, and then 5th fret on the G string, 6th on the B string. So again, it's like we're picking these notes out of like that D minor chord. Then on the 3rd measure, it's just 5 hammer to 7 to 5 on the G string. So like I said, they're very similar. There's just these little subtle differences and stuff that just kind of make it interesting. If I was going to have to go like play this song live, I don't know if I could honestly commit all those different little details to memory. I probably have to kind of just, probably try to cover them all, but maybe not at the same times that they do. So on this, now we're going to move back up to the 15th fret on the high E string for the little melody part here. So again, we want to do that bend with our 3rd finger, but put our 1st and 2nd fingers down behind it so we have that leverage. So we're going to bend with vibrato, full step bend again. So it's kind of like how it was in the solo before. We're going to bend, hold, rest, bend, bend, bend and release, and pull off to the 13th fret. And then back up again. So like that. Let's see. All right, so now we're going to move up again. So let's just look really quick at what the rhythm guitar is doing here. Again, it's just another one of the ones we've done before this time. We're going to do on the D string, 5 hammer to 7, then 5 on the G string, and then that little dyad again. So 7th fret on the D string, 5th fret on the G string. Next measure, same thing. Now the next one's a little bit different. We got have that one like we did before. So the 5 hammer to 7, 5 on the G string, and then 5 on the G string, 6 on the B string. So again, out of that that bar chord. So for the little solo, little melody thing, now we're going to start on the 17th fret of the high E string, and this is coming in on the and of 3. So where the little melody is resting on that first part, on the first 2 beats plus the downbeat of 3. Now we've got, wait a minute. Oh yeah, okay. We want to be on 17, but we want to use your first finger. Because now we're going to go to the 20th fret, and we'll use that with our third finger. So we got, and then pull off. 17, and then 20, bend and release, and pull back off to that 17. And then back up to the 20 and bend. So it's kind of got, on each part, it's got that da 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 da. They just keep moving it around. Or then we do the same thing on the third measure. We rest 1, 2, 3, and do the same thing again. 17, 20, bend, full step bend and release, and pull off to 17. And wow, okay, those last ones were in order. And then back to the 20 with the bend again. All right, then we're going to shift back down. So we're on 13, still all on the high string. We're on the 13th fret, the first finger, 15 with our third finger. We're going to put our middle finger in between there on 14. We're going to go 13, 15, bend and release, pull to 13. Back to 15. So we're just doing the same thing that we did here. The rhythm guitar on this part, again, it's just doing one of the same ones we did before. This is like the one at the beginning, though. We got the... So 5 hammer to 7 on the D string, 5th fret of the G string, and then 5th fret of the G string, 6th fret of the B string. It does that on all three measures of that part. Okay, so that's 10. Now we're going to come down to the G string, doing the same thing. We're coming in on the and of 3, 10th fret to the 12th fret, and then back up to the 13th fret of the B string. Whoops. Back up to the high E string, 13th fret, pulling back off to 10. So all this right here, all right here in D minor pentatonic. Now, the rhythm guitar on here is doing the same thing on all three measures, so it's another one that we've done before. Whoops. This is the one we were talking about where you have to slide from 7 to 9 and then do that and slide back out of it. So whichever fingers you want, I try, with all three different ways there. Whichever way is more comfortable for you. Sometimes it's not worth getting hung up on little tiny details like that. There's going to be some reasons why there's going to be certain things that you do with a different finger than other people do for whatever reason. What it sounds like at the end of the day is what's the important part, right? All right, and then the last three measures, we're back up to the 13th fret on the B string again, back up to the 13th on the high E string. So that's like basically how it just that same thing over and over again, and it actually fades out, on the original. And the rhythm on this part is the same as on the last three measures. So it's so weird. For me, I can switch between using my second finger to my third finger to do the slide, and it's easier and quicker for me to do it that way than to try to do it any other way. You develop muscle memories in your fingers and your hands and stuff, and then you just end up. There's just certain ways you just do stuff, and it might be different than how other people do it, but again, it's just at the end of the day, it's how it sounds is the most important part. Anyway, that is all of the parts. All the parts to this for Come Together. So if you just joined us or whatever, there's a link in the description. You can download the tabs and you can watch the rerun of the video to get all of the bits. But does anybody have any questions about any of this that we went over, or just other guitar related questions in general? And if you like the content, you like what I'm doing, or you just want to do something nice to throw something out in the universe, hit that thumbs up button for me. Leave a comment. All that kind of stuff helps for me to continue to do this. I haven't played that was good. I haven't played the guitar I've picked it up, but I haven't really, really played it in probably 3 years. So I've got all these guitars that I don't play, and I've decided, okay, I'm either going to play them or I'm going to get rid of them. So I'm going through it. I don't know why I don't play this guitar more often. This thing plays great. It's got a really, really comfortable neck. And it sounds pretty good, so I don't know why I don't do it. I guess I'm lazy and it's easier just to reach for whatever's right next to me. Thank you, Crit. I appreciate that. Thanks, Jersey. Thanks, Rick. Appreciate it. All right. Well, that covers it. So I'd like to thank everybody for coming out and joining me on this freezing ass cold Wednesday. Hit the thumbs up, leave me a comment, like, subscribe, yada, 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 all that YouTube algorithm stuff. But I really appreciate everybody. I really appreciate everybody that came out, and especially you guys who are here week after week and stuff. I really appreciate that. All right, and I will catch y'all next week. I plan on being here again. I'm going to try to really be consistent with being here on Wednesday nights. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. Have a great night, great week. Stay safe, stay warm, and I will catch you all next week. Oh, from Zabreski? I'm not sure how you say that, but hello from Brazil. Awesome. I have, you can't see them in the video, but I have a couple of Brazilian Meteoro amplifiers. Oh, thank you, Victor. Yeah, I like it. I'm gonna play it more often. Like I said, I don't know why, other than was all the way over there. Oh, and thank you again, Victor. Appreciate it. All right, have a great night, everybody. A safe week, all that jazz, and I'll see you next week.